hello there, humans of his earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you're lucky enough to be doing it to. I'm Bushka on Blitz, and I'm doing it in the AMX 5120. It's the hodgepodge of French tanks that I've been throwing around all over the place. Oh, that poor little Borsig. I am completely ready for him. I'm expecting him. There he is, right on cue. Thank you. This is a Patron-sponsored post. If you want to sponsor the channel, that would be bloody wonderful. It's how I feed the dog and keep him in beer, wine, and Skittles. Click on the link here, and I will take your sponsorship and be eternally grateful. This is a relatively similar tank to the AMX 50B, but there's some very important differences, and we're going to talk about a little more about the differences than we are about the tank itself, I guess. Or maybe I'll find another way to illustrate my points. But I didn't like this as much as I thought I would, and I've loved a lot of the French tanks. I will point out again that they are quite simply very difficult tanks to play if you are a new player. This is absolutely not a line I would suggest you investigate going forward if you've just started the game. It's got a whole lot about it that works, but it really only works if you have a clue what you're doing. It's a good tank for situations like that. Once you get anyone who's on under 800 hit points, you're more or less going to just be able to AP them to bits. There are a couple of really good things to do with the gun. Firstly, it runs AP and APCR as its premium and standard ammo. Now, APCR is the breakfast of champions as far as the gun is concerned, because it means you don't have to worry about firing through spaced armor or anything like that. It's just going to give you its absolute best penetration in most situations. We won't get into the whole loses velocity over AP across distance and all this kind of thing. It's just, that's how it is. The other thing is, you pack a massive punch. You're going to see a situation a little later on where I do 1,300 damage to a Leo PTA in 3 shots with my AP, and I do it very, very quickly because you can do it every 2.5 seconds. You can throw out a shell. And it's great for spots like that where you line up a track and you smack them. The disappointing things for me are the gun handling. It's just not that great. You can see there that shot went in on the T30, but it actually hit him on the turret. And I was aiming in the middle of his track, which is a bit of a surprise. There's a glacial down here on the right that I already know about from a previous one. Here's one I prepared earlier. Bang. Thank you very much for your time. It's got the same gun handling stats basically as an E75. The dispersion numbers are nothing to write home about. They're not terrible. With your vents and your double Russians, you're down to 0.337. With the AMX 50B, you get down to 0.310, which is nearly 0.3 better, which is 10%. That's a lot better in terms of just pure dispersion. Your movement on rotation of your turret and such is also pretty hefty. 0.18, which, I mean, that's not really hefty. That's a lie. It's not horrible at all. It's actually pretty good, but it's the same as the E75 again. Where it falls down is that gun depression. 6 degrees of gun depression. For comparison's sake, that's the same as an Object 140. And 6 degrees gun depression on a 140, well, it's more usable because it's very, very low to the ground and it's a medium, so it gets a whole hell of a lot of help from its camouflage. It's got incredibly good camouflage. The best medium camouflage at tier 10. This, though, has something that most heavies don't, and certainly not many tanks with this kind of firepower, particularly at this tier, have. That is the ability to pump out at pace. Now, you're going to see me, I'm going to do a reload here because I only had 1 shell left. I want to get to a full clip. I'm going right around the circle here, and I'm clocking along at 40 kilometers an hour. I got there very, very fast. Indeed, we're getting faster than 40 kilometers now because this thing will go out to 50 Ks. And it will look at how it moves. It's like a big runner, just like a big athletic tank. And now we're here with 1200 alpha to spare on the flank of some very, very unhappy reds. That FCM 50, he's not going to be very keen on this at all. It's going to hurt him. It's going to hurt him an awful lot. Ta-ta. Now that's all his hit points gone. Bang, bang, bang. And that's because we saw the opportunity. We saw the opportunity to actually get out there, and smash a flank, and it loves doing that. The thing you've got to watch out for, and it's a real lesson in this tank, is you don't want to brawl up close with anyone that you can't one clip, because you will take a lot of damage if that is the case. And you've got, I mean, look at that waffle tractor, and then we're going to try and find someone to put the last one in. We'll give it to that T-34. Thanks very, very much. And we get a bounce off the upper glacis, and an angel loses its wings because the armour is absolutely horrific. Don't be relying on bounces at all. Rely on camouflage, firing from stealth, and maintaining distance. Anyone that calls you a coward in this tank is doing it wrong. You can work up close and personal if you have support. And the reason I say that is it works beautifully well with, say, a T-54 or an M46 Patron or an M103, or going the other direction like a heavy tank like an ST-1, something that can really hold a line, or an E-75 or a VK-4502B. They're brilliant tanks for it, because what you want to do is have someone who can help you out when you're in this 22 seconds of reloading hell. And that's exactly what they can do. And we did, you know, nearly 4K in that game, just there in that little burst. PTA, 413, 430, and finish him off with a 479. That's 1,300 damage there. The big hit we took was from a T-30 who was climbing up the hill there unimpeded. And you can see I've got a TD with me, an Object 704, which is why I am quite happy out in this flank, because when I've got the big gun with me, I get a chance to reload. No one's pushing up with you. It's also really, really handy at these tiers to have a 400 alpha gun, because you're going to get these things where you need to finish someone off, and at times they'll be on 350 or so. And if you were in a tank with 350 alpha, you've got an average roll. With this, you can well under an average roll and you'll finish them. The firepower is absolutely gorgeous. Look, don't get me wrong, the firepower is brilliant. But like I said, in situations like this where you get up close, and if you blow a shot like that, I mean, I'd put that into the bottom track there. I get the second one in. So we fired 3 shots for 2 hits, which is 800 damage. And then we're going to use the speed to get around here. But we have a Grill A now on his own. We're going to take one from the mouse. And then what I'm going to do is try and drive in front of the grill, make the T-62A work for his last shot, even though I only have a paltry amount of hit points left. And the grill gets one into him, we get one into the 62A, finish up and get another one, and there you go. You need to know how to drive a tank. If you don't, you're going to get yourself in situations like that, and your risk mitigation will be pants. I mean, I chose to get in front of a mouse rather than be in front of what is basically the highest DPM tank in the game, running there for a medium or anything important like that at tier 10. The 62A, the 140, and the Leopard 1 are all going to be doing 3,700 plus damage per minute without adrenaline if they're running double rations and rammer. You can see that is an issue. If you get caught on your own, or you get caught brawling one-on-one, and that's what I see a lot of people doing in this tank, because the whole ethos of it can carry you away. Let's get up close and personal and smash. And getting up and close and personal and smashing is great for the first 5 seconds, which is how long it takes you to run out of bullets. And then the next 22.5 seconds, where you're just driving around panicking, is brutally confronting. And it is violent and angry. And when people realize you don't have anything in the clip, well, don't they just love to drive up and spank you silly? It's the mobility too that gets people in trouble. When you can be this mobile, you will often find that you use it in the wrong direction. And you can see here I've pushed out, I've seen the rest of the teams moving. Don't want to be caught on my own. I'm going to run around and go and see them and use them to help me help them. I'll run you through some really quick stats. You've got 400 alpha per hit in your 120mm SA46. 2.5 seconds reload, so you can get 3 shots out in 5 seconds, which is 1,200 alpha average damage, which is bloody lovely. The other good thing is the APCR as your premium ammunition. That's going to give you 250mm on AP, 340 on APCR. You don't have to worry about spaced armor or anything like that. So it's very much a fire and forget. So if you like spamming Premo, go for your life. And this will be a fantastic tank for you to do that in. A little bit like a latter day educated, sophisticated T54 if you're after some gold spam. And God hell, I love a bit of gold spam. And if you don't, well, bad luck. The traverse numbers are gorgeous. Lovely shot there, though. You can see the gun does work for you sometimes. And we're going to get some lovely shots in on this E100. I thought the E100 was looking at the bloke on top of the thing. He wasn't. He was looking at me. And I got very seriously hammered for taking that for granted. 40 degrees of traverse on your tracks, 40 degrees of traverse on your turret. Look how quick the turret traverses. So once you're running that double rations and vents, you're going to get some gorgeous, gorgeous mobility out of this tank. 50 kilometers an hour is your top speed. And you can see I use the engine boost all the time because it has a wonderful, well, enforced engine boost modality, because if you don't use engine boost, you don't get to use anything because adrenaline's not there. Now, I'm going to use this E100 here, and this is why I chose this game. That E100 is a player, that's a guest account. He's not particularly fantastic, he's just learning the game. I don't think he's got a whole lot of tanks yet. And we're going to use him to do damage. He gets 2 kills, but he does 157 total damage in the game. That's not really his issue, and it's not what I'm trying to highlight here. I'm using him because this is the issue you have. I'm reloading. I need somewhere to clear space for 22 seconds. And that E100 is intimidating as all hell to that 61 and that Patron and that E4. And he's got a big hit point pool. And I'm going to utilize that hit point pool to roll out here and put in a little bit of love. Just a couple of love taps. There's one into the E4. We go for a second bite of the cherry. Missed that. And then we're behind a happy, happy rock. Think happy thoughts. Hug the rock. Love the rock. Do not be visible to that E4, or we get a very lucky bounce off what is a very slight bit of side armor there. E4's backing right up, so I'm going to come around here and go for a full reload. I was holding that in case this 61 pushed round, but we don't have to worry about that. Now, you're going to do this a little bit. I'm pretending I've got shots in the barrel here, just to see if I can slow down this 61. You can see I'm going to drive towards him a little bit. Doesn't work. Often doesn't work, because people just YOLO. I mean, that seems to be the way forward at the moment. And we're still got the E100 there. I don't know where that went. That was just bizarre. That went absolutely nowhere near it. We go for the Death or Glory HE shell. We just get an average roll, really, 386 alpha. But the E100 cleans up. Good on your player, _4921306, blah, 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 blah. Cleans up. So we're on a full reload again. Now, we've just been sitting here. We smacked that M46 Patron. We put one in the T110E4, and we're now going to clip the E100 that is up here. We're going to give him a whole dose of love. There's one, and there's two. And then there's switching to APCR and 3. And he's gone. And that's because basically you need a big brother with this thing. It works so, so well if you have support. All these French autoloaders and all autoloaders in general are very, very friendly to support if you are running around in a platoon. Anyone that can hold the line while you sneak back in, hide, and sing some elevator music for 22 seconds is going to be very happy to have you, because you can absolutely turn the tide of a battle. I would suggest that this is just not a friendly line for new players, but there are a couple of tanks on there that I love, most notably the Tier 7. I really, really like that. The Tier 6 is good. The Tier 8 I really liked as well. And I quite liked the AMX 50B at Tier 10. This I liked, but the gun depression doesn't do it for me. It makes it a little bit too hard to get shots off. It's mobile, it works, it's a good tank, don't get me wrong, it's a solid tank. The gun handling's enough to get by, but I wouldn't take it. If I had to pick 1 or 2 tanks out of the line, this wouldn't be one of them. Doesn't mean it's a bad tank, it just means it's a little bit different for me, and it wasn't my favourite. Anyway, boys and girls, thank you so much for watching. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Look after yourselves, look after your families, and as always, stay safe on the battlefield.